Dear students, today we are going to study Hess law and the Born-Haber cycle. So this is called a Hess law of constant heat summation. So when there is a change in the system, it is moving from one state into another state, initial state to final state. A system will be changed. Or if we consider a reaction, the reactant will be converted into product. We assume that the reactant is an initial state, product will be considered as the final state. So whatever it may be a physical change or a chemical change. The change is always accompanying with heat changes. So we measure heat changes in terms of internal energy change or enthalpy change. Okay. And these two terms are state functions. These two are not path functions. So when a system is changed from one state into another state, these heat changes will not depend on the path in which transformation occurs. These two are depending only on initial state as well as final state. So it will not depend on how much steps are there during the conversion of a system from initial to final state. It won't depend on the path. It depends only on initial as well as final states of the system. Okay. So based on this, Hess law can be stated. It states that take a chemical reaction or a system is moving from one state into another state. Now in this reaction, the reactant A is converted into the product B in only one step. So heat changes can be denoted as delta HF. So enthalpy change of formation for a reaction which is taking place in only one step. The reactant A can be converted into product B in more than one step. For example, A will be converted into X. For this transformation, there will be a heat change. It is denoted as delta H1. The X will be converted into another substance Y. Heat changes during this transformation is denoted as delta H2. Then Y will be converted into the desired product B. Heat changes will be taken as delta H3. Okay. So a reactant can be converted into product in only one step. Heat change is denoted as delta HF. The reactant A may be converted into product B in more than one step. For each step, there will be heat changes. They are denoted as delta H1, delta H2, delta H3. So according to Hess law, delta HF is equal to delta H1 plus delta H2 plus delta H3. So this is called the Hess law. It states that enthalpy change for a reaction in which the product may be formed in one step or multi-step. So you consider enthalpy change for a reaction. The value will be same whether the reaction may take place in one step or more than one step. Okay. So whatever may be the mechanism, product may be formed by only one step or it may be formed by more than one step, whatever it may be. But enthalpy change will be same and the condition is initial and final state should be the same one. Okay. So enthalpy change of a reaction is the same. For that, the product may be formed in one step or more than one step, provided that initial and final state should be the same one. Okay. This is also enthalpy change. These are all enthalpy changes. These two will be equal. This is called the Hess law of constant heat summation. Okay. What is the application of Hess law? You consider combustion reaction. The graphite is burnt. So carbon in the form of graphite is burnt in the presence of oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide. So this is called the formation. So enthalpy change is denoted as delta HF. Enthalpy change of formation of carbon dioxide from carbon or graphite. One step process. And another possibility, the graphite will combine with the oxygen, it forms carbon monoxide. Enthalpy change is denoted as delta H1. When carbon monoxide combines with oxygen, it forms carbon dioxide. Enthalpy change is denoted as delta H2. So the reactant is carbon in the form of graphite. The expected product is carbon dioxide. The reaction may take place in only one step or in two steps. We may apply the Hess law. This value can be calculated easily. This is also calculated easily, but this will be difficult. Okay. So to calculate this value, we may apply Hess law. So according to Hess law, delta HF is equal to delta H1 plus delta H2. So in book they have given the value. What is delta HF? Delta HF is minus 393.5 kilojoule. Then delta H2 value is given minus 283.5. So this value is needed. Enthalpy change for the formation of carbon monoxide from graphite. This value have to be calculated. So delta H1 is equal to minus 110.5 kilojoule. So this is the application of Hess law. Next one, lattice energy. So symbol U. Like internal energy, for lattice energy also we use a symbol U. You consider a crystal, ionic crystal, sodium chloride. The structure of crystals will be discussed in 12th standard. Okay, it is having FCC structure, face-centered cubic structure. Okay. So when we analyze the structure, the constituent particles will be in a place. It is called a lattice point. Okay. So in 3 dimensions, the constituent particles will be arranged. So what is a constituent particle? Cation as well as anion. Sodium cation and chloride anion will be arranged in 3 dimensions. The place in which the constituent particles present is called a lattice point. Okay. And the overall structure is called a crystal lattice. So when you take an ionic crystal, lattice energy is defined as how much amount of energy required to remove ions from its crystal lattice or lattice point from 1 mole of crystal. That's called a lattice energy. So from sodium chloride crystal lattice, that means in the crystal structure, when we take 1 mole sodium chloride, how much energy required to remove the constituent ions to an infinite distance. Okay. So simply we can say how much energy required to break the bond between the positively charged ions. Ionic bond is existing. To break the bond, how much energy is required? It is called a lattice energy. And this is one way of explanation. So sodium chloride is having ionic bond which is broken. It becomes cation and anion. So 1 mole of sodium chloride is taken to break the bond. The ions will be removed from the crystal lattice or lattice point to an infinite distance. The energy required is called a lattice energy. This is one way of explanation. Another one, when the constituent particles are coming closer, the positively charged ions will have an attraction. Always opposite charges will have an attraction. So it forms crystal. So during the formation of crystal, the energy liberation is called the lattice energy. So how much amount of energy liberated during the formation of 1 mole of crystal from its constituent particles? It is called the lattice energy. Okay. How much energy required to break the bond, lattice energy, or how much energy liberated during the formation of 1 mole of crystal is also lattice energy. Next, we move into Born-Haber cycle. So these two are a scientist's name, okay? Born and Haber. So Born-Haber cycle is concerned with reaction between metal and halogens. So in Born-Haber cycle, we deal with the reaction between metal and halogen to form metal halide, or metal combines with oxygen, it forms metal oxides. Okay, so these two reactions are taken. In Born-Haber cycle, we take the formation of ionic crystals like a metal halide and metal oxides. And with the help of this Born-Haber cycle, we calculate lattice energy by taking the reactions in Born-Haber cycle. We calculate lattice energy. Okay. To calculate the lattice energy of ionic crystals in Born-Haber cycle, we apply Hess law. So Hess law is applied for ionic crystals in Born-Haber cycle to calculate lattice energy. According to Born-Haber cycle, metal directly combines with halogen, it forms metal halide. So one step process. The solid metal combines with gaseous halogen atom, it forms metal halide. The enthalpy change is denoted as delta HF. So with the help of Hess law, we write enthalpy change of formation of metal halide. One step process. The reactant may be converted into product by taking more than one step. Consider a solid metal is converted into gaseous metal atom. The process is called a sublimation process. And the enthalpy change in the sublimation process is taken as delta H1. Solid metal is directly converted into gaseous metal atom without converted into liquid. So the sublimation process, heat change of sublimation is delta H1. Next, the gaseous metal atom is converted into cation. So energy is applied on this metal. The loosely bounded electron, the valence electron is removed. So the neutral gaseous metal atom is converted into cation by the ejection of electron. The enthalpy change is denoted as delta H2, and the process is called the ionization process. A neutral atom is converted into ion. The process is ionization. The energy supplied for ionization process is called ionization energy. So delta H2 is nothing but what? Ionization energy. Okay. And consider the halogen molecule. Okay. So when you take the halogen molecule, this is undergoing a dissociation process. The process is called a dissociation. So X2 is dissociated to give X. For this dissociation process, enthalpy change is denoted as delta H3. This is enthalpy change of dissociation. And we know that halogens are highly electronegative in nature. It will have the tendency of accepting an electron to become like noble gases. So the liberated electron by the neutral metal atom is accepted by this halogen. So this gaseous isolated halogen is having the tendency of accepting the electron, it becomes anion. Okay. The electron is gained by the neutral isolated gases halogen. And the enthalpy change in the process is called delta H4. So we already studied in periodic classification. When an isolated neutral gaseous atom accepts an electron to become anion, it will liberate energy. The liberated energy is called electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. So delta H4 is nothing but electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. So now we know that positively charged ions will have an attraction. So ionic bond will be formed between these two. So energy liberated during the formation of ionic crystal from the ions is called lattice energy. So here we use U, it represents lattice energy. How much energy is liberated during the formation of ionic crystal from the respective ions. Okay. So we know that according to Hess law, delta HF is equal to delta H1 plus delta H2 plus delta H3 plus delta H4 plus internal energy, lattice energy U. Okay. So with the help of this Hess law, we can calculate lattice energy. Okay. So in our book, an example is given. Formation of sodium chloride in page number 209. So the metal atom is sodium. The halogen is chlorine. So sodium and the chlorine are directly combining to form sodium chloride salt. Okay. This is called a sodium chloride salt formation. Direct halogenation will give you sodium chloride formation. Enthalpy change of formation of sodium chloride. The neutral sodium is converted into solid sodium metal is converted into gaseous atom. The process is sublimation process. This is enthalpy change of sublimation. By losing an electron, it becomes Na plus cation. Okay, this is called a ionization process. So delta H2 is the ionization energy of sodium. Then half Cl2 molecule is dissociated to get a chlorine atom. The process is a dissociation. So delta H3 is the enthalpy change of dissociation. Then chlorine is highly electronegative in nature. It will accept the electron lost by sodium. It becomes chloride anion. So during this formation of anion, it will liberate energy. It is called electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. Delta H4 is electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity. Then positively charged ion will have an attraction. It forms sodium chloride with the liberation of energy. It is called lattice energy. So we apply Hess law. So in book they have given the value. Enthalpy change of formation is minus 413.3 kilojoule per mole. Delta H1 value 108.7 kilojoule per mole. Delta H2 495 kilojoule per mole. Then delta H3, we know that delta H3 is the enthalpy change of dissociation. So in the question, enthalpy change of dissociation of chlorine is given as 244. Okay. But in Born-Haber cycle, we have only one chlorine atom. So enthalpy change of dissociation of half Cl2. In book, they have given enthalpy change of dissociation of one chlorine molecule, 244. But in Born-Haber cycle, we have written enthalpy change of dissociation of half Cl2 molecule. So this will be divided by 2. Answer is 122. So delta H3 value 122. Okay. Delta H4 value minus 349 kilojoule per mole. Next, we have to calculate lattice energy. So lattice energy U is equal to minus 700 788 kilojoule per mole. So when sodium chloride is formed from their ions, it liberates 788 kilojoule per mole energy. Or we can say we have to provide 788 kilojoule per mole energy to break the bond between Na plus and Cl minus in sodium chloride. So this is called the lattice energy, which can be calculated with the help of Born-Haber cycle. So with this, first law of thermodynamics and the related terms are over. Next, we move into the second law of thermodynamics that will be discussed tomorrow. Thank you.